Hey guys, Anthony, 4x4 Touring Australia. We've got some really important information to share regarding, it's going to be mainly a couple of fridge comparisons between the Waco and the Engel, and also a little bit to do with some solar charging and chargers and stuff like that. You know, I like to say I keep things short, but I try and keep it short because I know some people are in a hurry, but the information, I can't just spit it all out in a minute, do you know what I mean? So not only have we been working on Prados, we do a lot of R&D, a lot of testing with fridges and solar panels and batteries and different things like that. So I just want to sort of show you what we're doing at the moment, just quickly. So in the back of this vehicle, we've temporarily got a Waco, I think it's a CFX 35, which is about, I think it's about 6 years old. Hasn't been used that much, but seems to work perfectly fine. So we're going to give you some of the pros and cons with that. We also may include some of the experiences using a CF50 from back in approximately, I don't know, 2011, 12, 13, that sort of, 2014, that sort of thing. And then of course this cheap Engel. Okay, so the cheap Engel Eclipse, we'll show you what we know about those, and just showing you we're doing a bit of R&D with some solar panels here. These are the awesome quality I've mentioned before. We got these from Melandi Outdoor Adventure. They're in Thomastown in Victoria. They generally attend all the caravan and camping shows, so you can get stuff off them there. Go and say g'day to Mel or Andy, funnily enough, Mel Andy, that's what they're called, Mel and Andy. So go and say g'day to the guys and say, hey, Anthony from Oz Prado crew, or 4x4 Diesel, 4x4 Touring Australia sent me. And these panels are made in the same factory as the Red Arc ones. Long story short, cheaper and better. Talk to them if you want to know more info, or you can probably hit them up on an email if you hit a Google. Google Melandi Outdoor Adventure and ask them about their solar panels if you want some good quality ones. That's those right there. We've also got a double adapter we made up out of quality wire. That's that one there. That's maybe some of the only quality here once you get over to this side. We've had a lot of trouble with these solar panels. Okay, they do definitely work sometimes, okay? I know, and look, the wire quality not so good. So this wire here is top quality because that's what we used to make that. It was basically, that was an offcut, to be honest. Yeah, that was an offcut from something we used setting up a vehicle. Just come over here quickly to our outdoor table. These regulators, these type of regulators that come with these panels, in my opinion, not too crash hot. The quality of the wire that comes with the King's panels, not too crash hot. The wire that comes with the Melandi one, it hasn't got all the thick double coating and whatever, but decent wire and decent plugs and connections from what I can see. And it's the genuine Anderson Power Products plug. Not that I'm saying you need to have the genuine one or not, but what I'm trying to tell you, there's quality versus cheap. You get what you pay for. The Melandi one, it's kind of forms its own bag when you fold it up, which is cool. The King's one, it's got a separate bag that you can put the regulator and that in. The reason I've got two blue regulators here, because when I had problems with the solar panels and demonstrated that to King's, they sent me a regulator after promising me another set of panels. Never got the panels, so, and it was hard work getting anything, to be honest. So look, in my experience this time, the service wasn't awesome. But anyway, let's follow along the 10-meter extension that was meant to come with the King's panels originally. Was part of the deal that never came, that 10 emails later eventually it arrived. And that comes up to the vehicle here. And if you've been watching, you'll see in the 150 we've set up a Projector DC charger mounted on the K1 bracket down there, and that's my solar connection. It's kind of just sits down in there, and yeah, so it's ready to go. If I want more permanently, I can poke it through. These holes in the grill here are quite large. I can just poke it through there, but it's just a temporary thing at the moment. So we'll go around to the back of the vehicle. I want to mainly show you to compare these fridges. I did have an 8-year-old here, you know, because kids tell the truth. Mitchell! I'll give him a yell, see if he comes back, because he was asking me before. This is the reason this whole video started. I had the vehicles out here. I'm doing a bit of, you know, we're in COVID-19 lockdown, getting a few things done around the house, and the young fellow came down, he got off the device for once, and he started asking questions, and we were doing quite a good education, and I was proud of him. He was learning a lot, and I said, hey, you know, he was understanding it really well, and I just wanted to explain it to everyone else, and I was going to get him to help me because, you know, the kids, they just don't lie, mate. They just say it how it is. And so what I'm going to do, you're going to have to trust me this time, because, and I'll try and demonstrate with a picture because he's not here. Now, just quickly, what we found with the CF50 many years ago was, I'm going to open up the fridge here. I'm just going to take that insulating cover, which is not really, let me just talk about covers. Fridge manufacturers, please make them white. We want them to reflect the heat. Dark colours, dumb idea. And your covers, same problem. Dark colours, it absorbs heat. We want to reflect the heat. I know it's going to get dirty and all that. Alright guys, I'll be looking in the comments. What do you want? White covers that reflect the heat, or black covers so it looks clean? I'll have white, that even if it looks dirty. I'll try and keep it clean. You know what? If they're $100, I'll buy a new one every 5 years. Whatever. It's going to save so much energy, batteries, performance for the fridge, right? So things need to be white. That's the first thing. If any manufacturer ever decides to see this video. Now, this is not the CF50. This is the CFX35. I believe when they came out, they're all a pretty similar design to each other, the CFX. I'm not a fridge expert. I'll just tell you what I know. This fridge has been sitting here set on 0, right? I'll press set. Does that work for you? I don't know. It might flash in it. There it is. It's set on 0. It is 0. The compressor's running. Can you hear that? They're pretty quiet. With those 2 solar panels on it, it's down to about 13. Can you even see that? You know the way cameras work? I don't know. This is painful, isn't it? Anyway, I can tell you it's 13.4, 13.5, 13.6. It's thereabouts, up and down a little bit. We've got a bit of sun and shade and cloud. There's not much sun, it's winter. The sun's on a big angle. It was up to about 14.2 before this compressor kicked in, and that's where this whole thing started. So you get to see the sort of goodies that I keep in the fridge. You know, this is, you know, a bit of privacy here. You guys are going to have to keep this to yourself, all right? Don't tell anyone. Water, see guys, mainly water. A few cans of Canadian there, you know. But what I want to show you is what we noticed with the CF50. I want to say first, and I'm not sure if it's going to be the same with this fridge, and there's other fridges of a very similar design. Firstly, look how big the fridge is, and look how small the space inside is. I don't know if you, it's like that basket is so small. It is tiny. It's about no more than about 40% of the dimensions of the outside of the fridge. The usable space, forget about this here, I'll tell you why in a minute, but the usable space over there with the way the lid is, because the lid's kind of like, you know, they sort of, they divot in. Why does that, you know, why do they need that edge there? So this kind of gets in the way of storing things in there. I find it quite pathetic, I'm going to be quite honest. The space in these fridges, I know why people go, oh, you know, we struggle. This CFX35 seems way smaller and less usable than the fridge we're about to have a look at soon. The point I wanted to make is, A, when the compressor here is working really hard in hot conditions, ongoing, the heat transfers through to what's in here. So if you think this is a fridge and you've got your bacon there, good luck to you. I've had chocolate, right? I had chocolate blocks, you know, back in the day when we were bad. No, we were considerate. We went on trips with lots of people, and instead of buying a bar, you know, how many grams is this? 55 grams that you'd have on your own or share with someone. We'd buy blocks because they were 200, and you're sharing it with a group, mate. You have a row each, right? So, well, how many days? 14 blocks of chocolate, right? So they were stacked up in a row across here on the CF50, and I'll tell you what happened. They melted, okay, guys? In the fridge the whole time, from the day we left, they melted, okay? So beware of what's going on there. I don't know if it's the same on this fridge or not. I haven't used it in hot conditions. It's not my fridge, it's borrowed, thanks Mark, and if he's not using it, I'll keep it as long as I can to do what I do. Now, what the other things we did with the CF50 was, we've got a thermometer that we can put in the fridge in different places, and it tells us the temperature, for example, here, 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 there, and we did all that R&D. We had fridges side by side, batteries, solar panels, all set up, and we moved this thing around. You know, we're working on cars over there, and right next door we had the fridges, and every now and then, every hour or 2 or 3, over days and weeks, we go move around, and a lot of it's in the memory. It's not on paper, it's not an official thing, but I just want to tell you what we found. Besides on hot conditions, things over here melting, which I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, you know, I've never experienced that. Look, I'm not really sort of bag and Waco, I wanted to say, but I think maybe I am, right? when they say they use less power, it's because they're not as cold. I promise you, this set on 0, if I pull a drink out of the coldest part, it's not as cold as a 0 in the other fridge, which is from a genuine thermometer, okay? I reckon it's about 4 degrees difference. Now, so what I want to say is, looking in here, I had Mitch here before and I said, mate, this is what I explained. The compressor's over this side. The cold part is only really that white part. And the further down you go, the colder it gets. Now, what I did, I said, look, I pulled these out. I said, look down there. Can you see any cold, frost, nothing? I said, is that cold? He felt it. He said, oh, he goes, not really. He goes, it's a little bit cold. I said, right, it's cold, but I mean, it'll do the job. But the problem I had when I used this fridge on the trip just recently, I had it set on -2 because things over here, they were just cold. So I went -2, give it a couple extra degrees, and then I had drinks over this side freezing up, right? So at the moment, not frozen up, right? But you can see that's where the cold part is. See that? Now I don't know in these fridges where their thermostat is, right? But that is cold and icy at that side, right? Little bit down that side, not as much. And as you come towards the front, you haven't got any of that icy stuff at all. So obviously, whatever you want coldest, you put at the back in this fridge, and what you not too fussed about your tomatoes and lettuce up the front here. So it is manageable. So I'm not completely bagging out Wacos. I'm just trying to show you what's going on, okay? So that's that. I find it very small for a 35. I don't know how many litres. 34.5 they're quoting. There you go. Right? Remembering that Waco, on the CF50 they quoted 47, and the basket was the same size as the one in the fridge we're about to look at, which quotes 38 litres. So I don't know how that works out. Someone please explain. What did I miss? Anyway, the reason why this might appear to use less power is because they're not as cold. If you're not as cold, then you're going to use less power, right? Now, let's close this up. I think we're about done here, okay? Happy days, better than nothing. If they're cheap, like those CF50s, I reckon you can pick them up now on specials and that for $500 or $600, mate. Bargain. And I think the King's one, it's probably the same, does the job, looks the same. I know people that have got them. They're probably just as reliable, does the job, and those people haven't experienced the chocolate melting here. So I do understand, totally agree that it's not going to happen to everyone. I'm just telling you an experience that did happen. Now, the fridge wasn't left open or anything like that. It's closed. Of course, these latches are better than on the CF50s. They were on the side, and they used to, if you slam the lid down, kind of, see, that's a bit of a softer landing. Although this is how I close the fridge. I go like that, or I'm going to just go like that. I don't sort of go like that, but notice it's pretty good. I think it's built for it, so much better there. Waco, awesome. Quality and everything looks good on this fridge. I can't believe how long this... Let's do another test. Since Mitch was here and I started this video, this compressor's been running. The fridge is set on 0. It's set on 0. It is 0. Okay, I opened the fridge. I had it open for a while. Fair enough. How long is it going to run for? It hasn't stopped running, which is why this battery's sitting on 13.8. So we're going to leave this. We'll come back to it maybe. Let's go over to this vehicle and have a look at the old Engel. See how she's holding up. Give you a bit of feedback because, excuse me, before I went for one of these, I did a lot of research. I spoke to a lot of people in shops, people I know. You know, cars come in, they've got fridges, you know, this and that. Who's had trouble? How do you find it? And a lot of people, they don't have much to compare to, which is why I thought I'd do the comparison. Even in the shops, they sort of, you know, they either don't know or don't care. They just work there, you know, it's hard. The one consistent thing I found, when I got a good relationship with one of the girls at Ray's, you know, just from chatting, going in there, buying a few things, and we got along well, and, you know, she was telling me the truth. I said, what's the best fridge, right? I said, what's the best fridge? She said, you know, they're all about the same. They all, you know, they all get the odd return, you know, they all have problems sort of thing. Okay. And I said, all right, no worries. And, you know, I was doing, I think she was walking off, and then she turned around, she goes, she stopped, you know, she said, actually, you know, she goes, Engels, I've never had one come back. She goes, hang on, let me think. No, I can't think of an Engel that's ever come back. And like, so I'm putting Engels in the same basket with the BFGs, right? The BFG tyres, the KOs that have been the most used and reliable. The OME suspension traditionally has been one of the most used suspensions we've seen on cars and haven't seen any issues, and it rides really well. Okay, there's a plug for OME suspension. Totally Nothing to do with it really. But let's have a look in this fridge. So what we got here is outside air temperature, 12.5. That's measured right there. And the 0.5, just to be fair, right? This dial's always set on around about the 1 type thing. Around about 1 gets us about 0 degrees, right? It'll go up to 2 degrees. Might go 0.7 or something under at the moment. It's 5 degrees, right? Nothing's changed here, right? I noticed the grey lid over the lid starting to come away from itself. See the glue there or whatever? These are, I think, what are they might be made in Thailand or something like that, but it's got all the same mechanicals, compressor and everything, so super reliable. And they were about 800 bucks retail. I think they went up to 900, but you get them on specials every now and then, you know, for 700, or if you know someone. I think they're an awesome value for money fridge, and it's got the same size basket in it as that CF50, except the basket's higher. So the same width, the same length, right? That is just, it fits so much more in there, guys. Excuse me, COVID-19. What I want to point out is, that's cold there. That is cold. Mitch was here before. He goes, mate, it's cold. It's so much colder. That is cold all the way around, all the way to the top. The whole fridge to the top. You want to see? That's the top. So full length, top to bottom, wrap around evaporator. And this is the thermometer I'm talking about. Wherever I put that, that's the temperature. I bring it out here, you watch it start going up. You watch it, and put it out here. It's probably a bit cold for a minute. Yeah, I'll put my hand around it and I'll get it started. Maybe it only checks the temperature every now and then. There you go. Right, it's out here now. It's gonna, if it stays out, it's gonna come up to 13, right? Right, there you go. So you can see that works. Put it back in here. And with this, I was able to put it down the bottom, put it over this corner here, and put it in the middle. And I can tell you, you don't want to know the results on the Waco, guys. Just be aware of the situation. All right. Now on this fridge, I don't put things up. You can't fit a block of chocolate in there, but anything I put in here, it doesn't get hot in here for whatever reason. We've got the airflow, the nice big holes at this end. There's heaps of airflow, which works really well. You got to think about that when you set up where you're putting your fridge. But in here, these suckers, like a snowball in the face, definitely a lot colder than the ones in the other fridge. Okay, these are just this is part of the first aid kit, right? See that? Share a Coke with Dad when the kids are upset, you know. No, I'm just joking. You know, last resort to fix a headache, can of Coke, you know. And for some people, diabetics, could come in handy. It's kind of like part of your first aid kit. Who are we sharing a Coke with here? Yeah, they're both sharing with Dad. There you go. And of course, 0 sugar where possible, and plenty of water as usual. Anyway, guys, just wanted to show you that comparison between the two fridges. I hope you get that. It is cold all the way, top to bottom. I'm really impressed. And when you take into account the value for money, you can't beat it. Now, one other thing I just wanted to mention with the clips, and I've mentioned it before, there's 2 clips. Some people that had these years ago, I said, you know, is there any problems with these fridges? Did a lot of research, asked a lot of people, saw people camping, asked people I know, and they said, beautiful, not a problem. But one thing that did come up is they said, oh, you know, you can break these clips, they can break, you know, they're just plastic. So I'm kind of like, okay, you know. So what I did here was, because of the way this slides in and out, 2 things I did. I adjusted the fridge so that if someone, you know, if it wasn't done up, hopefully when it closes, it misses, right? Let's go to worst case scenario. Look at that, see? So it's set up to avoid the problem just in case someone leaves it open and goes like that. But worst case scenario, that didn't work out for me. I thought, well, I'll take one off, and that way it's easier to open and close. I've only got to do one, because at the end of the day, look, it's sealing, right? It's sealing, right? That's with it undone, that's with it done, that's sealed, that's tight enough right there. So I thought the other one's packed away for a spare. So I'm only going to have one clip, quicker and easier, does the job, because at the end of the day, it's made to fit, and you can see that even if you don't Even if you don't close the clip, the lid's staying shut on this fridge, right? So it's called a reliable setup. We don't need the other clip, so that's what's going on there. That being said, this fridge has been used and abused, and we've been unable to break a clip in 2000 and I think it was December 2013. So what are we now? We're coming about 7 years anyway. Sounds like about 7 years to me. This fridge has been going, and it's been running 24/7, 365 days a year for 7 years on this setting, and you can see it's slowly coming down. Very reliable. Paid $650 for it. Got 10% credit. Owes me $585. Absolute bargain. Highly recommended. Anyway, guys, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. Here's compressor, still going. Look at it, 13.8 foot. Hang on. That's still running. The voltage is just going up and down a bit. We've got the sun coming out. Oh, it's hit 14.4, even with the compressor running. That's awesome. Like, you can't probably, I don't know if you can see that. I don't know how to make that happen for you, but a bit further away maybe. Anyway, it's on 14.5 right now. So 2 solar panels in a little bit of sun. With this, I've got to tell you, those regulators, the DC-DC regulator is definitely, I don't know if you picked up on my other videos on 4x4 diesel, not that excited about the DC-DC charger for charging the battery, but very impressed with how it controls the solar, that projector one. We've got a Red Arc 1225 there as well. We haven't installed that yet. I'm going to hopefully get that onto the 120 at some stage, but I certainly like the idea of the SBI 12 so we can manually connect for if you've got a problem with your cranking battery or whatever the case may be. You know, somebody left the door open, a light on, kids, you know, blame the kids again. Anyway, guys, if you haven't already, I hope that's been helpful. Subscribe to this channel as well. Turn the bell on so you don't miss those notifications. You're not going to get that many. There's certainly a lot less videos going up on this channel than there is on 4x4 diesel. And I'll be looking in the comments for your experiences, what fridge you've got, any pros and cons, positives, negatives, what you found, and what color you want. Do you want a black or a white cover? Alright guys, if you haven't already, if you can give us a thumbs up for that information, and I'll get back to you with some more shortly. Take it easy. See ya.